Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so I'm here with what I believe is the last message in a series of messages that has come out around the ending of a major karmic cycle. And of course, if you were drawn into this reading as a standalone reading, it can resonate just as it is. Always take things how they resonate for you. But if you are interested in the other readings that have come out alongside this message, I have linked them in the description box below. Okay, so in this message, I want to talk about the tower moment here that occurred between you and a significant other person. But in order for us to talk about the tower moment, we have to recap a little bit. What's important for us to understand is this kind of formation of what's gone on here, because there is what I'm calling a divine feminine here on one side. And I'm calling this the divine feminine energy. This could be a male or a female, but the feminine side of this person is elevated. And it's really giving that Empress energy. Very well-rounded, very abundant, very Venus-centered energy. So broadly intelligent, very personable, genuinely cooperative, a diplomatic person, somebody who's very well-balanced, who's relationship-focused, and a very good person to overall be in relationship with. And I am actually getting that this person does have kind of two sides to their nature, but not in a malicious or nefarious way. And those two sides are actually very well integrated, but often misunderstood. And that misunderstanding of this divine feminine, this Empress, I'm going to say her, but keep in mind this could be a male, right? That kind of ticks all those boxes. But her personality is, I think, often misunderstood, and definitely was misunderstood here in this whole karmic situation that has unfolded, and by this other group here. And that's been kind of the formation is, if you listen to the other messages, there's like a group that's kind of involved here. And I saw that group as kind of this crescent moon around this divine feminine. And this group actually, especially on a soul level, they don't really have much in common. What brings this group together is the fact that they all kind of operate the same way. It's from a very ego-centric, ego-defensive state of consciousness. It's very much a dog-eat-dog world. It's very much, if I can get away with something, I will, because I lead with a faux virtuous nature in order to position myself a certain way in society, in order to people please, in order to get what I want out of the situation. But it really just ends up becoming facade. And when I get found out, I have to defend myself. That's kind of the energy here. And they all have that in and of themselves. And that's really what kind of binds them together is this. And I don't think there's actually there's not genuine intimacy, and there's not genuine connection here. They kind of all bond around actually not being intimate and not building true connection. If that makes any sense, right? And they have this strong kind of competitive side to their nature, because every single person that's here in this group, and there is men and women in this group that I'm seeing in my mind, they're in this kind of karmic group because their feminine side, even for the men, their feminine side is a toxic feminine side. It is a karmic feminine side. So they find themselves having aligned with karmic feminines, definitely in their past and definitely within their group. And it gives birth to this kind of like performative nature. Even like for the men here, they perform virtue, but they kind of perform their manhood and the qualities that they've been taught by the groups that they're a part of, and the culture and the traditions that they have been brought up into, how they should behave as a man. And then they, rather than embody that from the inside out, they instead perform that. And so that's the difference here between this divine feminine, as her feminine side is divine and it's exalted, and theirs isn't. All of these people. Now, this tower moment here, I think every single person in this karmic group has had their own tower moment here with this divine feminine energy. So I just want that to be clear. Like, as I'm talking about this tower moment, just know that I'm going to talk about it as if it's between two people, because I don't think this tower moment occurred between this Empress and this group. I think it would be a tower moment for this Empress to know that this group maybe gossips, because gossips about her or something. All of it is just ego defense. And they kind of have to pull each other in on that of like, and you agree that I'm a good person. But the way that they kind of manufacture that alliance between all of them is they use those ego defense mechanisms. They leave quite a lot out in the stories. They leave out the important details about what they did, to this Empress energy. And that's maybe why that holds the key to why she did what she did or responded the way that she did, right? It's denial. It is projection. It's logical fallacies, and they all kind of don't dig too deep in each other's stories because they want the same thing from the other person. So it's this negative buy-in. It's kind of the lowest common denominator of what can bring a group together that's going on over here on this karmic side. But I'm going to talk about this karmic this tower moment as if it occurred between two people. But I think this has been a repeat experience here for this Empress energy, and it's happened on a gradient. So there's more severe tower moments that have occurred with some of these people, and there's less severe ones, okay? Now, every single person here, including this divine feminine, they do have these kind of two sides to their nature, but the quality of that is much different. And the two sides to their nature I'm seeing is the Page of Cups on one hand and the Queen of Swords on the other, okay? So this, like I said, it's high vibrational with this divine feminine. It's low vibrational over here with this karmic group. And that's the virtue signaling that I'm talking about. They don't have a truly virtuous nature. Instead, they virtue signal. So the Page of Cups is actually a very strategic, very lightweight energy that's meant to say, you know, you can trust me. It's kind of meant to lure you in. And I don't know if they think of it quite like that, but it's meant to make somebody feel comfortable and kind of put their guard down and to create a certain false persona about them, you know, maybe friendly, but maybe apologetic sometimes. And all the masculines and the feminines here in this karmic group kind of have that. And they virtue signal in order to compete. So in order to rival for relationship, in order to gain some kind of job position or something, pick me, that's really what this Page of Cups is. But that's a strategic move because the Queen of Swords energy that is behind it for all of these karmic people is very strategic. I think can actually be malicious or cruel, kind of the lower vibrational nature that we can kind of think of with the Queen of Swords. So it's that very intentional strategy to kind of put, and so when this group leads with that Page of Cups energy, it's because they want something, and they all know that about themselves. And these are kind of cynical people, so they think that everybody else in the world kind of operates on that same level of consciousness at all times. So basically, it has meant, and this is a part of their karmic kind of kickback, is that when they are presented with Page of Cups energy in another person, like they are with this divine feminine energy, they don't trust it. They actually misread that energy, and so they misbehave. And that's what's gone on here. And I think that's what has led here to this tower moment. So, and I think this comes through with the masculines and the feminines in a different way in this karmic group. Because I think the setup here is that this divine feminine, I do actually think there is a love interest. But there's only one love interest, okay? And it's either a person that she's already with, so therefore, obviously, she's interested in that person. She could be committed to that person, like on some level, and that is actually her love interest. Or if she is single, I think there's another person here, like in this group of karmics, you know, to be honest, that maybe she is interested in. But she's only interested in that person because she thinks that he's virtuous. And she doesn't realize that he's like virtue signaling. But I do think there is one person, and exactly one person, that she's actually a love interest with. Now, there's a lot more interest in this divine feminine than she is even aware of, because she does kind of take this genuinely simplistic view to life that, you know, she just wants what's for her and, you know, nothing else. But there's a lot more interest in her in that way than she kind of realizes. And because she's okay, so if you're this divine feminine, this is gonna like maybe shock you for me to tell you that this is what's kind of been going on, but basically because she leads with this Page of Cups energy, which is a genuine part of her, and I haven't described that her personality yet, but she also has this Page of Cups energy that she kind of leads with, and it is very genuine. It's very genuinely sweet and innocuous and vulnerable, because where these people are virtue signaling and always kind of jockeying for position, and therefore they cannot build true intimacy in their relationships. And when I'm saying intimacy, I'm not connecting that with schmegs at all. She builds genuine intimacy in her relationships, this divine feminine. Very good at it, naturally does it. In her platonic relationships here as well, but they're real relationships. This is, you can be vulnerable with me, I can be vulnerable with you, and I see us kind of going on the journey together, right? And she will lead that kind of charge. But because these people they don't build genuine intimacy. They don't build genuine connection. So they misread this energy whenever it's presented to them. And like I said, when they lead with their Page of Cups energy, they know it's because they want something. And here's where things start to go wrong, because there are friends here. And I think that there's like masculine friends here, but it could be any gender, because I don't know like what everybody's gender orientation is. And that's not honestly the point of this. But there's people here interested in this divine feminine. And because she's leading and with this virtue energy, they think she's virtue signaling because she wants my attention. They think that that is her flirting. They think that this feminine, being sweet, being intimate and genuinely vulnerable and kind and accessible to them in a way that is real, in a way that is alive, and in a way that is human, and that she's maybe talking about her virtues or her morals or her interests, her hobbies, and that she's being so sweet and accessible, that means that she's flirting with them. And here's where all the trouble comes in, because that's where we've got this element of competition that has been introduced here. Because I think you've got maybe the love interest, you've got other people here who are also interested in her, and they're seeing her interact and build genuine relationships. And all of these except one, she intends to be platonic. She's not coming on to them. She's not flirting with them. She's being a human, and a full one at that. And these people have never seen that before. It's like a unicorn. And they certainly don't do that in and of themselves. So they're misreading this energy. So they're all kind of thinking, oh, I've got to kind of compete here. And I will say this, I do actually think these masculine energies here that are friends, they actually, on some level that is fairly conscious, they do know that she views them in a friendly way. But they misread this Page of Cups energy in her, because maybe they think that she's innocent or like young or naive. They think she's malleable. And I do think this comes down to a deep disrespect of the feminine. You probably would, if you try to talk to them about this, they would probably say, well, I respect women, but then look what they do. And by their fruits you shall know them. Look at their actions, right? They actually think, well, if I can, this would be they have to take this off-road. Right? And they know they do. This is the strategy. This is their perverted Queen of Swords energy, that strategy. They know that she's not interested in them that way, because there's an acknowledgement in their brain that they cannot go the traditional route for some reason. Okay? And what I mean is, remember I said there's like a culture that all these people belong to? And that could be like, like nationality, like there's certain dating customs that like a country has, or this could also be religion. But this is what she assumes is, look, everybody knows the dance when it comes to courtship and mating. And so if everybody's respected and everyone is considered and everybody's being given their choice, we all know the steps to the dance. Like where I'm from, it is like, somebody expresses interest and then they ask you out and you go out on a date and you kind of do that a couple times. You feel each other out. You see if it's going well. And then you kind of progressively become more and more intimate, but you're making sure that everybody's like good all the way through, right? Like something here like that. So in her mind, she's like, everybody knows the steps. So she doesn't even realize that she's in danger presenting this Page of Cups energy and that she's being misread. Because if somebody wants to pursue a romantic relationship with her, she expects them to do it the right way. And these friend energies kind of think, I think I can get her to think that way about me, because I am misreading her Page of Cups energy and I think she's malleable. And so I think if I could ambush her, I don't know, kiss her all of a sudden or something. But this would happen away from the set, is what I'm getting. This would happen away from the culture. There's a planning of this. And they think if I can kind of do that, then I can get her to think about me in this other way. And boy, are they wrong. Because she's not as malleable as they think that she is, because there's a deep misreading of her personality. Now, there could be something going on with the love interest here. Like if she's not already in a relationship with this person, in like a committed relationship, it could be that there's something here that he is trying to hide as well. Something where he feels like for some reason, he's not going about things in the correct way either, like the traditional way, okay? And that's going to play into things kind of as things move along here. But I think in the beginning, okay, for both parties involved. Well, let me actually back up, because we've talked a lot about the masculines here in this like karmic group, but these karmic feminines, okay, they are also misreading her Page of Cups energy. That's the competition for them, because they think, oh, she's hitting on so-and-so. And I do think there are maybe hidden schmegdual relationships going on in this karmic group, or hidden schmegdual interest, and they want to rival. There's like that rivaling, and so they're perceiving a threat here where maybe they shouldn't. So they're saying, oh, look, she's hitting on my mans. And because they have that hidden Queen of Swords, and it's perverted and it's negative, right? So remember, this karmic group has this kind of negative Page of Cups, Queen of Swords combo. So again, they're strategic and they're angry, and they think that if they ambush her in some way, they want her to maybe know that they're associated with one of these masculines in a schmegdual way, something. If they ambush her in some way, they think that will get her to reveal the fact that she's a bitch, that she has a negative Queen of Swords energy here. And well, they're just all going to be very surprised, because part of this setup is that she's got her feminine side is divine. It's purified. It is elevated. It is not toxic. It is not karmic. I'm not saying that she's never made a mistake in her life. I'm just saying even when she does, that divine feminine side is going to have her dealing with that in a healthy, upright sort of a manner, you know? And all of these people here, whether they're men or they're women, they don't have that. They have a toxic, perverted feminine side. And so they're all kind of here gathered around to stare in this divine feminine's mirror, because the way that they usually go about things, which is underhand strategy, virtue signal, they're used to getting people to buy their bullshit. And I think this divine feminine does until they reveal this kind of soured nature. But they're used to getting people to really believe that they're the Page of Cups and that that's genuine, whether that's these feminines or whether that's the masculines. And I think they're used to formulating relationships, and they're used to that dance kind of going a certain way. Again, they're used to the dance going a certain way, and I think they're used to baiting people. They're used to rivaling people. But when that occurs, because I think some of these masculines and feminines, maybe they're in on it together. Maybe they both think that they have something to gain by this feminine realizing that they're involved or something. It's stupid, because healthy Queen of Swords energy is intelligent. So I don't know how that would be strategic, but for some reason in this perverted world of logic over here, that makes sense to these people. And they're going to get the shock of their life when she doesn't take the bait. Instead, she goes, I'm hearing that Beyonce song. It's like, thank God you, or I want it. Yeah. Thank God you blew it. Thank God I dodged a bullet. I'm so over you. So baby, good looking out. She knows a win when she sees one, is what I heard. Because it's like, well, it might as well come out at the beginning who you really actually are. Thank goodness I didn't invest with you. Thank goodness we don't have kids, you know? And so, yes, it's probably this tower moment. And this is like with the feminines and the masculines. It's like this tower moment of like, well, I thought we were friends, or I thought you were virtuous. Like I thought you were one way. So it will be shocking and maybe even painful to realize that, but she's not going to flinch in the face of it. And she does, like I said, she recognizes a win. Like she actually does know that even though it's painful and it is kind of like a loss, that's the best way that this honestly like could have really worked out here, right? So getting into the way this tower moment builds for all of these people, right? Because they all had their individual tower moments here with this Queen of Swords, where they realized she wasn't who they thought she was, and where she had to realize that these people are not who she thought they were, right? So this is tower moment energy, like kind of all woven throughout this. But as these two people, okay, the divine feminine and any one of these karmic people here on this other side, as something happened here that induced this tower moment, okay? Now, I feel like in the beginning, though, they both sensed a lot of potential. Both of these people sensed a lot of potential here in this relationship. Now, the way in which they sensed potential might not have been in the same arena, because remember I said there's a lot of like maybe sexual or romantic interest in this divine feminine, and she may have sensed potential here in a lot of these people, but it could have been on a friendly level. And they would have sensed friendship vibes here as well from this divine feminine, but I think maybe, again, they want more. I do think it will be upsetting because they have karmas to work out around friendship and their nobility and their virtue and being authentic. I do think it will be a great loss to lose this divine feminine, even as a friend. I think they will come to regret that, where they'll realize what they even risked here, how important she was, because that's the path she was meant to take with a lot of these people, is the path of like some kind of lifelong friend, and her being around on some kind of energetic spiritual level really does provide some kind of guidance. She gives very good advice coming from a very noble place that actually might make the difference in certain crossroads moments for these people. She may introduce them to key people as well. Her presence really is, because a lot of these people, these karmic feminines and these, if they can maintain a friendship with her, I really am feeling it's quite a boon energy. Like she can help them navigate around certain things. It will kind of make the difference in their life, and they'll feel the void of it, having to be separated from her when she makes that decision, which she's absolutely entitled to make about herself and who she spends her time with. And that's probably part of this tower moment. But anyways, going back to this, I'm seeing these two people, again, sensing a lot of potential, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I think pretty early on, because this feels very preliminary to me, so like courtship, or they still don't know each other very well, you know, but then all of a sudden, out of the blue, out of left field, very sudden, very shocking, very jarring energy, this tower moment happens, and that tower moment stops that growth and potential just immediately in its tracks. And I'm almost hearing like a sizzle. It feels to me like a cauterizing energy, and I am seeing that flaming sword come down and just cut off the path forward and sear it off at the same time. And I do feel that is that healthy Queen of Swords energy here. Whether these people, these karmics, know it or not, that's what has abruptly stopped this. Because again, there's they misread a lot about this divine feminine. And we'll talk about why that is here, you know, in just a second. But that is why, is because she is very intelligent. They don't give her props for how intelligent, because again, they misread that Page of Cups energy with her. She is almost pure mind here, and it's a very healthy mind. She's very observant. It really would not actually take much for her to realize like what's actually gone on here, or who these people actually like really are. It really would not take much, because there is just a super intelligence here, and she would have made a decision here to just cut things off very decisively and very matter-of-factly. Because like I said, she won't flinch. And I do think just the whiplash from that, because these people are very fragmented, right? They kind of, they try to lead with a false face, and they're very different behind the scenes. And I think most of these people don't even have like a cohesive personality, that they just insist that that is their true self. And it's like, well, take it or leave it. I'm not hurting anybody with this. This is, some people are going to like me, some people aren't. And they're not even able to stand in that energy. So when they are around someone who is just total in what they do and is very well integrated in their personality, and they're not at all fragmented. And so when they make a decision, it's so full, and everything about their communication, their body language, they're not playing a little game. They don't want you to, oh, chase me, chase me. When they say, get the F away from me, that's exactly what they mean. When they say, this door is closed because I've seen who you actually are, that's exactly what they mean. And I think that's very surprising here to this group of karmic masculines and karmic feminines. And I think she's been maybe called everything but a child of God, every name in the book, because they cannot give her her props. They can't say, wow, she's impressive. Wow, she's intelligent. Wow, she actually picked, she actually has my number. She actually called me out. She actually knew exactly what was going on. They can't do that. And each one of these people has had this experience with this divine feminine. And I'm in the first message that I kind of channeled about this group, I said I was picturing all of them in these kind of like fluid sacks, where they were around each other, but they're not building actual intimacy, right? So even when they talk with each other, they're not saying anything real that like connects them. Instead, they're playing this little game. So each one of them, when they have this tower moment with this divine feminine, they feel inadequate. They actually know that in their situation, they fell short. I think of proper and decent human behavior in some capacity. They actually know that they were immoral, or that they were out of bounds in some way. That like whatever process, the dance that everybody supposedly knows, that they stepped out of bounds in order to form a relationship here with somebody, in order to cut in order to rival, in order to ambush, in order to try to get away with something, in order to try to, they know that they were out of bounds. Every single one of these people knows that they were in the wrong. But now I'm hearing the song from Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is actually the anthem here for this divine feminine energy. It's called Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? Because really, truly, everything about this divine feminine energy, again, male or female, whoever this is, they're so sweet. This is such a genuine person, such a nice person, such a cooperative, relationship-focused person. And there is actually this karmic group, there's a lot of people in this karmic group that are afraid of her. And that's one thing that I don't think she understands as well. And the reason that they are afraid of her, just like in that song, because that song, if you haven't heard it, it's like very, you should totally hear it. But it's like very haunty. And it's like, there's one part of it that's like, so I leap from the gallows and I levitate down your street. So the gallows, right? It's like, oh, they hang her for like treasons and crimes, right? That she like didn't commit. So these people, it's very like burn the witch, you know? And so then she kind of rises from the dead and she kind of like haunts them. And I do think that's kind of an aspect of this because of who she is. Because this is a person that really does not deserve poor treatment. I mean, you really shouldn't go around treating people badly anyways, regardless of what they like deserve or don't deserve. And I mean that separate from defending yourself, but I'm saying like, you know, this is a person who deserves the best treatment. This person did not mean you any harm, was not rivaling you in any way. And that's the powerful mirror, is because there is no outrunning the truth of who these people have been. If she is allowed her personality, if she is allowed to be seen for who she actually and truthfully is, and if she's allowed to speak for herself and about what actually truthfully happened, because she's healthy Queen of Swords. She's intelligent. She's observant. She can defend herself. And any decision that she's made, she can tell you exactly why she made it. And she's so innocent, that Page of Cups energy. And I'm hearing the truth chose her as its rider because of her innocence. That's, the truth doesn't choose somebody who's just like in a high up position, because who knows how you got there. There's many ways to get yourself into a high position. These karmic people know that, because that's what they're betting on for themselves. That's where they're investing their karmic energy. And they just can't create enough karma over here. But this divine feminine, she was chosen for her innocence, because she can, and that innocence, that genuineness of her nature creates this very clear mirror, because this is the last person on earth that should have got treated the way that she got treated. It's abhorring. Like, it's appalling. I was going to say abhorrent and appalling. It is abhorrent and it is appalling. Because she didn't deserve it in any way. And I think when she doesn't respond the way that these people expect, because again, remember, the masculines, I think, want something with her, and they're used to karmic feminines. They're used to toxic feminines, where all their little bullshit schemes and games and not going about things the right way actually works. This is not a toxic feminine. This is a divine feminine, and she knows how she should be treated in a relationship. She knows how the dance is supposed to go. And then these toxic feminines, when they do this tower moment and she doesn't show that she's a bitch because she's not one, then they're like, oh shit, I'm the bitch, right? If they have it all reflection. So that's part of the tower moment. So it's like, I think there was an ambushing energy, but then there was kind of like a realization energy here. Now, whenever this tower moment occurred, for both sides, I feel like they were flung back into their own like remits. And this is that hermit energy. Well, because we've got a divine feminine here who's excellent at hermit energy. This is going to be very fruitful. It's very high vibrational. She's used to running this. But then you've got all these karmics that are just horrible at it. So, and I'll talk more about that why their shadow work. They're not used to doing shadow work, and even if they had an interest in it, it's going to be difficult for them to do it. So, but they're flung back and they need to try. They need to try to be in that hermit energy, because there may be a crossroads moment in the future where there's a possibility to bridge the gap. But if you're going to bridge the gap, you've got to come clean, because she knows already exactly like what went on and who everybody is. You got to come clean, and you've got to step over into her way of being. And you have to try not to control things and not to be strategic and all of that. Now, I want to talk about this tower moment here really quick, because for some people, this could have been the same like event that, right? Like, so a tower energy for me, it's like, okay, so these two people could have experienced the same like tower moment event together. I don't know, like an earthquake or some kind of crazy event that they experienced together. It could have been something that one person did to another, again, like an actual ambush or like attack. It could have been a realization, because again, remember this divine feminine has this healthy Queen of Swords. She's very intelligent, and I keep hearing that. It would not take much, because she's such a genuine person and she knows the way the dance should go. So it really would not take much for her to realize that something is amiss here, and then to kind of piece together exactly what that was. So it could have very well been a sudden realization where she starts putting some like certain pieces together of why things have not been unfolding the way that they should or something, right? So it could be a sudden realization. It could have been a sudden message. It could have been something here that was like very sudden or shocking. It could have been the same thing here for both of these people, but they're both relating to that tower moment very different because of who they are and the quality of that feminine side. And so they both like leapt back from this tower moment, but they took different things away from it. They realized a different thing about the other person. And I honestly think that's, okay, these people are not who they said they are, right? That's that realization here on both sides. But I think it's actually more likely for more people that there was two tower moments here. And that when you're processing this, it's like you might know what your tower moment was. You know, your event, your ambush, your realization, the message that came in for you. You might know what that was, but you might not realize what the tower moment was for the other person. And I think, especially if this divine feminine had her tower moment first, and I actually think that's highly likely. And I think it might have been a realization or something that she saw, something where she put the pieces together. And again, she doesn't respond like a karmic feminine or a toxic feminine here. She responds, like I said, she won't flinch. So it sucks, it's jarring, maybe it's painful, it's shocking. It cut something off before it could really even begin. Maybe there was like a loss of hopefulness and being able to take the path here with someone, a path she thought was going to be decent and where she thought she was going to be respected, you know, just the way that you would respect any other person. But it's like, what do you do when you're faced with the truth? That's what I'm hearing. I think that might be, again, a difference between them karmically, because this karmic energy, when they're faced with the truth of themselves, and maybe with some of these other people that they partnered up with or have been hanging around that they really have nothing in common with, except for the fact that they all have a strong ego defense-centered personalities, and they find it strategic to be around one another because there's the safety in the numbers, and they'll need that against the truth. They think they need that against this divine feminine to bring her to their knees, but they're just swapping her energy in and out with the truth, which is just that's spiritual badass territory, in case you're wondering. When you become synonymous with the truth, well done. Okay, but that's what it is. That's why they all got to team up against her, right? And so in that moment, they went right back into their ego defense mechanisms, denial of who they are, projection, gossip, all these logical fallacies, lying by omission. Because when they all tell each other the war stories that they've had here with this divine feminine, they all leave out key details. They all leave out their strategy. They all leave out their ambush. They all leave out her humanity. They all leave out the empathy with her experience and the fact that she actually makes total sense, right? And that confuses them. Again, this is karmic. This is karmic spiraling. I'm hearing no company is better than wrong company, because because each one of these people kind of thinks, I know I was wrong. I know I was immoral. I know I was out of bounds. But all these other people have these stories, so maybe I am right about it. And that's exactly what their ego wants. That's what they're benefiting from. It's gross. It's low. These are not soulmates to each other. These are highly, highly karmic. They're all soulmate to this divine feminine. And they need to kind of get on her page. And this group, everybody, I'm telling you, there's a romantic pairing here, and everyone else is meant to be a friend. And that's their karmic energies. And why can't they be a friend? It's because they're selfish, or it's because they're competitive. They have to look at themselves in the mirror. They got triggered here. And that's for them to unpack. Right? But again, they don't understand this because they misunderstand this divine feminine's personality. And I just want to touch on this briefly, and then I want to talk about why this karmic energy, why their shadow work isn't fruitful, and why it's more confusing. Okay, in just a second. That's where I kind of want to leave things. So like I said, everybody here has kind of a people-pleasing quality. Like they want to be chosen, or they want to be liked and everything. It's just this divine feminine will go about that in a virtuous way. And she doesn't want that more than she wants to like herself, which is AKA being virtuous, right? And like I said, everybody here has this kind of Page of Cups, Queen of Swords duality going on. But on this karmic side, it's virtue signaling. It's I pretend to be the Page of Cups. I pretend to be sweet. I pretend to be funny and witty and good-natured when it suits me. But really, I'm hyper strategic behind the scenes. And I'm competitive and maybe a little angry and maybe trying to enact some kind of revenge because I feel slighted by this divine feminine because I saw her use Page of Cups energy. And because I use Page of Cups energy inappropriately, I project outwards onto her that she does. And I call that being intelligent. And in fact, it's a misuse of the mind, and it is deluding oneself. Yes? Okay, well, her, over here on this divine feminine side, she also has this Page of Cups, Queen of Swords duality. Now, her Page of Cups energy, it's coming across like the rising sign, but it's very healthy. And I do think this comes from her culture, that, I think she's expected to be this way. And I do kind of think this is has to do with her gender, that women are supposed to kind of be sweet or innocent, or they're not meant to be intelligent or decision makers or leaders. And that's a collective karma that group is kind of working out. But she knows that she is this, and she kind of doesn't think that it's actually a problem. And she's kind of made peace with this in some way because she has very pro-social values. So I think she's taken the lessons of, okay, well, this is how you're supposed to be. And she said, it's because everybody knows the dance and because there's no threats here, because everybody is virtuous and we're all out here trying our hardest. So that makes sense to me that I should lead with my Page of Cups energy, because if I'm cooperative, I'm signaling to others that I'm safe and you can be safe and you can put your guard down because I don't want people to feel uncomfortable around me. That's what she's thinking. So this Page of Cups energy is very genuine, and it is a genuine part of her, and it's a big part of her as well. And I do think that she's again, sweet. She could be there's something simple and uncomplicated in her relationship nature, and that is also a flex of her virtues. Because let me tell you something about this divine feminine energy, again, male or female. This divine feminine energy can pull, and I mean dick. So she's got a lot of sexual interest. She could have a stable in this single environment alone, and she's got the intelligence to pull it off. The thing is, she's virtuous, and she finds that beneath her. And she also thinks that her intelligence is better spent in other pursuits because she's concerned about building herself up. So the very fact that this divine feminine comes off very uncomplicated in her personal relationships is a testament to her character. And that's what these people kind of don't understand, because I think they assume that whenever this tower moment happens and she has to use her Queen of Swords energy, which by the way, she would associate with betrayal. She would say, I cannot believe you need this Queen of Swords of me to come out, but here we are, whenever that happened, they were like, oh my gosh, she's two-faced. There's something here that I didn't account for. She's two-faced. And again, because she's so integrated in her personality, that came through with a lot of force, not aggression. I think this could very easily get misconstrued over here because these people are not self-reflective, and they're not integrated themselves, okay? But what's actually happening, what they're meeting is healthy Queen of Swords energy, where she's intelligent and she is virtuous. She's a leader, she's decisive, and she's not afraid to make a difficult decision if it needs to get done. All of that is very something praiseworthy, right? And this divine feminine would actually think to herself, like, she's not trying to hide this, and she's not trying to be strategic about it. And she would be very confused if somebody said, well, I didn't know that you had this side to you. And she would say, that sounds like a you problem. Why don't you know how to build relationships and actually get to know people and pull the truth out of your environment? That's something you should kind of know how to do, because she feels that she has displayed her intellect in this Page of Cups energy. I think she might be funny. She could be quick. She could be witty. That's intelligence. If you don't know that's intelligence, why don't you know that's intelligence? I think she's simple in the way that she communicates things, and maybe even creative. She could be like, I don't know, some kind of creative pursuit, like a songwriter or something, where she's able to actually communicate very deep truths and intricacies of the human experience in something that's very simple. And that reminds me of the quote that says, a true master of their craft or their field can explain a very complicated subject to a 5-year-old in language that they can understand. Okay, but you wouldn't call that person a Page of Cups. You wouldn't say that they're stupid. It is actually such a demonstration of their intellect. It also reminds me of, there was a study done about people who go to Ivy League schools versus like regular schools. And when they write research papers, people who go to Ivy League schools, actually, they use less jargon and big words. The big words that they use, it's like, that's the perfect word to use. So of course they use it, but they try to use layman's terms whenever possible, because it's about, they want to be understood. They want to communicate their ideas in the most effective way possible. So they want to use the most accessible language. Well, that's what this divine feminine is doing. I think some of these people are like, well, you never displayed your intellect. And what they mean is she didn't wave her dick around in the air. She wasn't trying to intimidate people with her intellect. I already told you this is a very cooperative person. This is a very loving person that's focused on building intimacy and genuine relationships. Again, these people don't do that. So they don't recognize it when they see it right in front of them. But it's their problem that they're not able to recognize what's right in front of them. They don't know like what traits are signaling what. And it's because they're just scrambling all the time. Like they try to get a superficial read on a person to figure out what a person wants for them and to kind of stuff themselves into it. And then they feel betrayed when a person turns out to not be the superficial way that they've kind of constructed about them. It's honestly like strange. But so this feminine feels like, what do you mean? I've more than displayed my intellect. I've just also displayed my kindness and my openness and my generosity. It's just that this karmic group over here, basically, they misread this Page of Cups energy to the point where they thought that she was a pushover or young or innocent or naive, or they thought she was faking to the same way that they were faking. And so that's what introduced this sense of competition, and somebody here thought, or I think this is multiple people, that they could ambush her and get away with it and get her to react. This is a very reactionary thing, to react in whatever way, because they also assume that she has this people-pleasing nature, and she does, but that a people-pleasing nature that will go to the extent of competing in order to be chosen or won. And this Queen of Swords is like, listen, there are people you don't want to get chose by. And those are the people that will ambush you. Those are the people that will lie to you, sneak around, try to get away with anything they can get away with. Please, God, don't count me among their ranks. If it comes down to me associating with you or winning your respect or approval and me going my own way and having my own respect and being virtuous, I'm going my own way. And that's going to be a shock to all of these people. And that's where I want to get into the shadow work, because these people will be drawn back to this space at some point, because again, going back to that, who's afraid of little old me? They could be afraid of her just like popping back up, like in social settings or something like that, because of who she is, because they're scared of the truth and they know she has the truth. And if they haven't done a good enough job smear campaigning her and defaming her and tearing at the truth of who she is so that people don't take her seriously or they blame her, that's like the worst of this, is like, she's such a beautiful person. And these people have to treat her with cruelty in order to maintain their lie, because that's how they've chosen to go about their lives. That's the worst part of this. So if they haven't done a well enough job smear campaigning her, and she expresses her true virtuous nature and maybe says something here, and I don't even think she would do it to be malicious or strategic at all. But if it's like, well, why is that person cold to you? I don't know, because I'm certainly a good person. And in that song, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, it says, at all costs, keep your good name. At all costs, keep your good name. And that's at play here as well. But this divine feminine wouldn't sully her good name to begin with. She knows how to act. and she knows how to treat other people. That's how she preserves her good name. But these karmic people over here will do anything to protect the skeletons in their own closet so that people don't know the reality of who they are. And that's what they view as protecting their good name, right? So they have to gaslight her at the very least and be like, I don't know, bitch is crazy. Oh my gosh, that's literally came out in that song as well, where she's like, you caged me and then you called me crazy, you know? You should totally listen to that song. I feel like there's probably more messages for you in that song, but I feel like that's like this divine feminine's anthem. It's her energy. Who's afraid of me? These people are all like so afraid of her. But anyways, when they go back and they reflect on this tower moment and they try to unpack exactly what happened here, I think they're going to have some struggles here. And that's because they have lived an immoral life. They've lived in a way that's like out of bounds, or they've lived in a way that is immoral. And so what that does is it muddles the space. It confuses you, right? First of all, because they can't give her credit, so that's going to be another layer of confusion, but putting that over to the side. When you're trying to figure out why, I think this is a repeat experience in these people's lives where something will suddenly come to an end, like in their romantic relationships or in their professional relationships. And when they're trying to figure out why that happened, these people try to pull fast ones. If they can get away with something, then they will. So they can never actually really be sure. If the reason something ended is because somebody found them out, somebody realized what they had done or what they were up to, or just the kind of person that they were, because that somehow got communicated, or they saw something, same thing as this divine feminine, right? Saw something, experienced something, put it all together. Or if something genuinely out of pocket is going on here, like maybe if they lost their job, like maybe they were discriminated against, but they were stealing on the side, so they'll never really know. You see what I'm saying? Like they can't even, like, they don't have a leg to stand on, and they can't maybe pursue justice in that situation. It shoots yourself in the foot to live an immoral lifestyle, because morality and principles and virtue is a technology. It is a technology to clear up your karma and to guide yourself through like this human experience. You benefit from that greatly. Like you escape drama, and that's how you clear up your karmas here. So again, they're going to have an awfully hard time trying to pull apart what exactly went on here, because they cannot, first of all, admit to themselves who they are. And they definitely don't want other people knowing who they are. So some of these people have to like really like be in such strong denial that maybe they misremember things, or like they're just, they are just in denial that that's who they were here to a very beautiful person. Somebody who not only didn't deserve it and has this very sweet side to their nature, but is also very intelligent and knows exactly what went on and sees them for exactly who they are, and now no longer wants anything to do with them. And I do feel like this is kind of shaping up here to another crossroads moment for these individuals. I do think that they're being held karmically responsible now for what they did and what went on. I think there may have been another tower moment in their life that had them reminiscing or thinking back to like this exact moment, and this is what like went wrong here, or that's in the offing. And spirit is kind of preparing these people. So if you're one of these people who kind of has done this to this divine feminine, there's another crossroads moment where you get to decide once again who it is that you're going to be, who you're going to align your energy with, and towards what ends. This is kind of like happening. And I do think it's because this divine feminine has broken the back of this karmic cycle and basically said, look, I'm never going to get my justice over here with a group of people who cannot self-reflect, who cannot hold themselves accountable, and who lack self-discipline. I'm never going to get an honest apology. I'm never going to get treated the way that I should be treated by people who are in that level of energy. It's just impossible. And if it happens, it'll just be facade, and it'll just be for a short period of time. These are also the people, they might actually want to apologize. And again, for some of these people, it's like facade management. They just want to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Do you forgive me? So that when we're at the work party, you talk to me and then I don't have to account for my behavior when every single person around me wants to know why the nicest, smartest, sweetest person in the room wants literally nothing to do with me, and why I'm too scared to go over there and talk to that person. So I just want to say sorry so we don't have that awkwardness, so that I don't have to worry about the truth of who I am coming out. It's more facade management. And that's the thing too. That's another way that they shoot themselves in the foot, is because you will never truly know if they're serious or if it's just more games. So even if these people have a change of heart and all of a sudden they want to apologize, they don't understand that like this divine feminine's intelligence is like, if you say the words, I'm sorry, it's come from such a low life place from you in the past. Nobody can trust you. Nobody can trust that you're not just hiding more lies and you're trying to get close to me again, to ambush me again, try to get away with something again, there's no way to ascertain that. And I actually think what's crazy is that some of these people may have like heard that something else bad happened to this divine feminine, and they actually do feel protective of her. They're like, well, why wouldn't you tell me? And it's like, not you, like the same person that did whatever you did. Because this has the vibe of it for some of these people. I'm getting ready to wrap this up, I swear. But you know, like some family systems where it's like, I mean, yeah, my mom bullies me, but she's the only one that bullies me. Like, yeah, she mistreats me, but she doesn't let other people mistreat me. For some, that's the kind of messed up dynamic. It's like very codependent. It's like, yeah, I mean, I treat you bad, but I'm not going to stand by while other people treat you bad. And again, it's more facade management, because to the group, they look like a loyal partner or a loyal friend. But then really, they're just betraying you behind the scenes. And if they can get away with it, they will get away with it, because they lack genuine character. And that's something they're going to have to like deal with within themselves. And I think this crossroads moment is exactly that, where they're like, do you want to continue being that way? And then you get to incarnate with all these fuckheads again? Because that's what's in the offing. Because this divine feminine's moving over here. And like people who resonate on her level. They're moving here. They've passed these lessons. They no longer need this. They're not people pleasing. They're integrated in their personality, and they're going this way. So there's like a major dividing that's going on. And I don't know how that would be showing up in their lives, but I do think that's kind of like in the offing over here. So, all right, I think that is all I have here. And I think that concludes the series. And if you want to listen to the other ones, they are in the description box below. But yeah, that's what I have. So if that resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye, guys.